Hi, good morning, everyone. I guess everyone's still outside a little bit, having a chat, having some coffee. But you know what? I'm just going to start, take it slow while everyone streams in. Ditch my heels today so that I can wear some sneakers to go around and involve you all in our little presentation. So yeah, I'm going to talk about reimagining the world, how blockchain technologies can disrupt traditional industries. I'm Michelle, and I'm the co-founder of Innovative, as well as Founders Lab. I'm one half of the dynamic duo, together with my co-founder, Priya, who's just right here today as well. Feel free to come and chat with us anytime after. My goal, personally, is to harness the power of technology to help people to build their vision and dreams, right? Now, maybe a show of hands here in the crowd. Who here is currently working with blockchain technologies? Okay, I see one hand there. Priya, of course, yours. Anyone else here? Okay, cool. And who here wants to use blockchain technologies in the future? Or anyone trying to get into blockchain technologies? No one? Really? You sure? Okay. So maybe just give a bit of an overview and not to go really into the technical nitty-gritties. Blockchain technology, what is it, right? Essentially, blockchain technologies is basically information, blocks of information, linked together in a chronological chain, and it's secured via cryptography. Right? It's programmable, it's secure, it's anonymous, it's unanimous, it's time-stamped, it's immutable, it's distributed. And what it does for information on the blockchain is to make it decentralized and, of course, secure. Now, one important part of blockchain technology, which I personally love, is decentralized autonomous organizations. What are these? This is basically how we bring people together with blockchain, right? How we organize people using blockchain. You've probably heard of this in the last 3 days, a couple of people talking about it. DAOs, decentralized autonomous organizations, they're internet native organizations, and they're collectively owned and managed by the people, right? We're bringing power now to the people. So decisions in these DAOs, they're made from the bottom up. Now, can you imagine how different that is from what you see today in the world? Organizations are run from the top down. DAOs, on the other hand, they run from bottom up. They're governed by the community. They're organized by the community. They're organized around the specific rules enforced on the blockchain by the community now. And as you know, because it's the blockchain, they're fully autonomous, they're transparent, and secure. So how are these DAOs created? I said they're on the blockchain, right? So you're creating a smart contract. Your developers, they create a smart contract behind these DAOs, and they enforce certain rules. They bring about your tokens. And this token, these rules are, they determine the way your DAOs are funded, your organizations are funded, and it gives you a set of rules on how people behave in the organization, right? And then it's deployed into the blockchain and it's set there in stone. Your rules are now on the blockchain, it's visible, it's transparent, everyone knows it, everyone gets access to it, and the rules are made by them. So now, adoption of blockchain. I've spoken about DAOs, I've spoken about blockchain technology. What is the adoption of blockchain technology like today? Why do people want to adopt blockchain technology? Firstly, it's really a space where it's internet of value. I think Ernesto spoke about this on the first day of our conference, and I absolutely picked on it, and I was like, yes, absolutely. Blockchain creates value, right? And what does blockchain do? It also simplifies the processes by creating transparency. Everything's on your blockchain. Everything you can view it any point of time. It's transparent. It's out there in your ledger. Everyone can view it. Thirdly, it transforms user experience. Just because now everything's on the blockchain, everything's transparent, it's governed by a community, Your whole user experience is totally different. Your power is now in your people's hands. People dictate their experiences now. People tell you what they want to do, how they want to be governed, what kind of experiences they want, how they want to work, how they want to play. You've heard about the metaverse by now, I'm sure. People are shopping on the metaverse. People are, creating land on the metaverse. Your whole user experience is going to be totally different, right? Fourthly, now you're establishing trust between different stakeholders. The whole idea of blockchain is trustless, right? You don't trust people. Now you're putting it on the blockchain. It's transparent. Everyone sees it. You're establishing trust. It's there. And lastly, why do we want to build blockchain? We want to give power to people. We want everyone to have a voice. We want everyone to come in, put in the inputs, have the power, have the right. It's democratic. Everyone has the power. Now, challenges. What has been the challenges to adopting blockchain? One, of course, awareness, understanding. I think I've been having this conversation with people in the industry for a while now, and the one thing I hear is that blockchain today is where internet was in the 1998, 2000s, early 2000s. We're still in the very early stages of blockchain technology, right? People are still finding use cases for it. People are still trying to understand what it can do, what it does for, like, say, traditional industries. Awareness, understanding, still at the early stages, right? Now, regulation and governance. I'm sure by now you've heard of how, like, there's a lot of scammers. Crypto is so dangerous. You would have heard that governments are trying to, deregulate it. They're not sure what to do with it. Regulation and governance is still a challenge. Governments don't know what to do with it. People are trying to figure out how to govern it, right? How to use it. Third, costs. It is expensive at this stage because it's still the early stages, right? When your internet came in the 1990s, early 2000s, it was expensive. Because it's the early stages, costs are still high. And fourth, lack of quality talent, inability to find talent, lack of inadequate skill set. Again, early stages, you're still figuring out where your talents are. You're still trying to find people with the adequate skill set. You're still trying to figure out how to build these skill set for the technologies that you're going to build for, right? And lastly, mindset. I think Srikant, one of these days, was talking about mindset. A lot of it is about the mindset, the culture. Are we willing to forget the mindset and the culture of yesterday, of the day before, or the last decade to kind of, build a new world, build a new process, build a new system, build a new way of doing things, right? Now, what I would love to do right now is to give you an example of what we're building as a way of showing you how we're reimagining the future, right? What is reimagine? The word reimagine, what does it tell you? To think about a new possibility, to create a new, right? How are you going to do that? And why specifically world of work, talent? It's one of the oldest industries ever, right? How we organize people to get work done. How do we get talent organizations? That's a very old industry. Earning a living, that's something we've been doing for ages now. So, when I talk about talent, the world of work, the new age of talent, what's been traditional is 9-to-5s, employment contracts. You work to earn. But the age of today, right? You've seen the last, say, decade, people coming up, people in the gig economy, freelancers, but more than that, creator economy. You are creating to earn. You are playing to earn. You are learning to earn. You are eating to earn, right? You've seen that on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok. That's the new age of talent. There's a whole mindset change. There's a seismic difference in desires, wants, the culture, the millennial thinking, if you want to even think about that, right? And yesterday's models, they can't solve today's challenges. Yesterday's models are your organizations where they want to tie you down to employment contracts. They want to make you work 9 to 5. They want you to be in the office, right? those were yesterday's models. And how can you solve today's challenges with yesterday's models, right? Weren't that built for yesterday? So this is where what we're doing is really to change a culture shift, right? To build a platform, to build a product where we not just empower the future of work, to bring in that new world of work, the new world of talent, but we're also empowering companies to adopt blockchain technologies. What we're trying to do is to change that challenges to solutions. How do we help do that? One is really to power the X-to-earn economy, right? You're not just gonna work to earn anymore. You're gonna learn to earn. You upskill and you earn money from doing that. You contribute, you create value, and you're going to earn. You participate in your DAOs, you're gonna participate in your communities, and you earn. And isn't that what we're all doing these days? We're participating, we're building organizations, we're being part of it, but you're not really earning much from it, right? You're just earning a salary. What we want to do is to allow you to do what you want to do and earn money, right? We want to make work more flexible, fluid, playful than what we know, than what we were taught when we were young. We want to make that a possibility. You extra earn. Now, reducing work down to atomic units. If you see how work is done today, we're going to try to make it more transient, dynamic, again, from the X to earn, right? When you're doing work, you're not just doing work. You're learning something. You're upskilling yourself. You're researching. You're contributing. You're helping your colleague. We want to make work more transient. We want to give people the freedom to monetize their skills, monetize their value on their own terms. Third, opportunity to upskill in Web3. That's where the problem is right now. Lack of skilled talents in the Web3 space. And we want to give people that opportunity to jump into Web3, start working there, start getting experience, start getting opportunities, start upskilling themselves so that they are ready for the blockchain era, right? With the whole open economy of crypto, open economy of blockchain, with the transparency and with the whole community backing each other up, we want to give opportunities, give access to opportunities. Now, fourth, earning passive income, right? If you think of what we're building at Founders Lab, the beauty of it is that when you're working, you're earning passive income. How do we do this? So we, on Founders Lab, we're using this blockchain technology called Stacks. And when people get into a job, a gig, a portion of the token that they're using goes into an escrow. And that escrow is staked on the blockchain platform. And because of the staking, what they're doing is earning passively, right? This allows people to earn passively even while they're working. And this portion, this stacking cycle will yield Bitcoin. And who doesn't want Bitcoin these days? Bitcoin is one of the stable coins. It's rising. It's popular, right? Now, fifth one, smooth and seamless payments. Well, yeah, today there is smooth payments globally. We have TransferWise, we have PayPal, we have all this stuff. But what's happening? I'm sure even as business owners, you find this problem, right? You invoice a client. How long does it take to get your money paid to you? 15 days? 30 days? I've heard someone who said 360 days. And I was like, what? You are doing your work today and you're getting paid 1 year later? Are you mad? I mean, we're business owners. We have stuff to pay. We have people to pay, so much of things. I mean, with blockchain, what we can do these days is that payments can be released instantaneously. And that's the beauty of it, right? Because when clients commit to you, when clients put their money on a project, they're committing onto the blockchain. And once your task is done, release. instantaneously. And that's the beauty of it, right? And this cross-border transfer of payments can be done so easily via crypto and fiat. Now, sixth, bridging the ecosystem for founders and talents in the Web3 space. Right now, Web3 space, still very early stage. I've had a lot of people say it's so chaotic. I can't seem to get access to legal experts. I can't seem to get access to developers. Okay, forget that. Community builders. We need someone who knows Discord at the fingertips, right? Everything is done in silos. What we want to do is to really bridge this whole ecosystem for founders to build their projects 0 to 1 and get into a market. Isn't that the challenge everyone faces today? Finding a project, ideating it, finding the talent, getting the project out. This whole cycle is, a big headache for founders, and they're like, yeah, I'm not gonna adopt it until, things calm down, I can understand it better, and that never happens. It happens maybe 3 years later, and that's a bit too late, isn't it? But so what we're trying to do is to bridge the ecosystem for founders and talents in the Web3 space. We want to give them access to communities, access to education, access to experts, access to technologies, products, investors. Money is important, guys. And for them to ease the building of their Web3 projects. And 7, genuine safe space for people to build projects collaboratively. If you're in the blockchain space, trust is a big issue. People are like, I'm not going to give you my idea because you might just steal it, build the next blockchain project, and you might get better, success in it. Trust is a big issue. But because right now everything's decentralized, everything's on the blockchain, everything is transparent, everything's out there for people to see, we build trust. We build that genuine safe space for people to trust each other to work collaboratively, right? You enable trusted transactions so that individuals can find like-minded individuals now, those who feel that the project is worth it, it's impactful, and you work together. So yeah, that's how we empower the future of work. We want to change the way things are done, the way work is carried out. And this is me. So feel free to connect with me and reach out anytime.
Fantastic stuff, Michelle. Have we got any questions from the audience? I found out an interesting fact recently. The guy that originally registered Netflix.com as a domain, so the founder of Netflix, he uploaded his original receipt as an NFT as absolute proof of ownership of the domain, so it's undisputed. Brilliant stuff.
Thank
Sorry,
you.
what's your question?
No problems. Hi, Michelle.
Hi.
So my question, it was there in my mind since day one because we were talking about blockchain and we kind of made a comment about that's really transparent. To me, transparency is basically availability plus accessibility, right? So data has been available, and if we just look at the regular traditional data transfer, everything was available, right? But you got to run a tracer or you got to read Wireshark to actually see where the data is getting transferred from. So that means it was not accessible to everybody. So does blockchain change that? Does it make the data or the metadata of the data really available for people to see it? Or do we have to make it available by making certain tools which could read that?
Okay, so currently it is available. You just need to go into certain websites or certain portals, domains, and you can view the whole transaction history of it. So you can see where the data originated from, who's the owner of it, how it got transferred across different ownership, or what that data did. You can see the whole journey of it from start to end.
Awesome, thank you.
Any more questions from the audience? We've got one down the front here. Can we come down here? Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Nice presentation. Being a owner of the company, it's a money matter, right? We always think about the money, when it's going to come or the customer is going to pay. So as you said, the beauty of the blockchain is the payment, right? So you get instant payment. Now, there are two questions. One, let's say once we sign the contract and the job is done, that customer is going to pay immediately, okay? So how does this process take? Okay, number one. Number two, for example, the contract is signed, but it get cancelled, okay? And then what happens over here? The payment comes or gets stuck, how we do the follow-up? So how is going to help in this situation?
Okay. So your first question is how is
How, let's say, how the payment is going to take place once the contract is over, how instantly they are going to do it.
Okay, got it. I'll answer your first question first. So now, when you start a project, right, the project is now encoded into a smart contract, right? What is the project about? What are the milestones? Because right now, everything is kind of broken down into tasks, right? When you put that in a smart contract, you are putting a certain amount of, say, crypto to lock that in. And so payment is done beforehand. The money is now escrowed into the smart contract or escrowed into smart contract, and the payment is done beforehand. Once you've completed the milestone, that payment gets released to your talent or to a business, to your organization. So that way, it's a win-win for both, right? You find the right talents, you put the money there, and once the task is done, it's immediately, instantaneously escrowed into the talent's wallet, crypto wallet.
So
So
that,
that's the
sorry,
first thing.
that means there's no chance to take it back, right, from the customer side?
No.
Okay, so it's released and protected.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's when you're building a smart contract, when you're putting in the details into it, that's where you get specific. That's where you put in all the relevant details, like what are the real milestones? What must be done for the payment to actually be released? So that's when all that encoding is there. So that's when you don't have any disputes after that, because everything is done per contract. Previously, we did it via, paper contracts, PDF contracts and stuff. This time, it's done on the blockchain, right? You minimize that risk of dispute from both your
Both the parties.
project, both the parties, exactly. So that's how it's done.
Thank you.
Any other questions from our audience? Yep, we got. Just pass the mic back, one behind you.
Hi, thank you very much for your presentation. I have two questions, please. The first one is when there is like a lot of people contributing to a project, mostly the payment will be minimum. So how does the burning fees or the transaction fees affect that? Let's say Ethereum as an example. And the other question is you mentioned trust, like somebody's, let's say, has an idea and then the other one can steal it. Can blockchain, let's say, or even NFT, protect that? Let's say if I have an idea, did someone, for example, write it and then make it as an NFT just to prove that he owned it, as an example of how you have a copyright or, all those things? If you can enlighten us, please.
Okay, so for our first question, when we talk about how, say, in a project, you have different stakeholders, right? Different stakeholders in the sense of what they're building, right? When we break down the work done into atomic units, so let's say, for example, we're in a tech conference, so I'll talk about tech. Let's say we are building a website, right? We're building a website. When you build a website, there's different parts. One is, say, creating wireframes of the website. Second is, say, maybe coming up with the branding or the color palettes for it. Now, these are all broken onto atomic units. Your talent can decide which of the parts they want to take on. They commit themselves onto the task, or they commit themselves for that particular task, and that way, the name is there on the smart contract, right? You can have one talent working on each task, maybe two, and if it's two, that percentage of work done is again encoded into a smart contract, right? That way, there's no dispute as to how much work you've done, and according to that, the payments get distributed. So that way, even if you're working in, say, a community with a few talents working on the same things, it's all in the smart contract, how much work you've done. But because it's broken onto atomic units, smaller units, that way, you already have that commitment that, okay, this is the person who's done this, and then payments are done accordingly. So that's the first thing. Now, for the second part, when you talk about trust, right? Everything, even your NFTs, everything's on a token, on a smart contract, right? everything is visible, everything is transparent. All the information in terms of how it moves from one person to another, the transaction history, everything is out there in the open. You can't do anything. If you do something, it's out there in the open as well, right? That way of fostering that transparency, which then leads to trust, because you can't run away from a digital ledger that contains all the data of what you've done, your ownership, and whether you've completed it or not. And I think that's the most important, right? Because if, let's say, the talent has not completed something or didn't do something, it's out there in the open. And it's like a record that can't be erased, and it's on the internet, which is not very good for a person who's doing that, but yeah.
Thank you. Actually, my first question was about the transaction fees, because when things on the blockchain, then you need a lot of processing power to make sure that this transaction happens. And then people who got involved in the transaction need to get their earning from the fees. And they call it, I think, burning fees, right? And this is currently considered high fees. So maybe the average transaction cost like maybe $100 or something. So when contributors work, let's say, in creating a website, then if the designer, let's say, should be charged, let's say, $400, $500, how does the transaction fees affect that? How efficient, let's say, can the blockchain be compared to fiat network, like, let's say, PayPal or Wise Transfer and those solutions?
Okay, so when you talk about transaction fees or the gas fees or the fees that you require to let all these transactions happen, it differs across the different blockchains. Right? When we talk about the one with the highest gas fees right now, we know it's Ethereum, right? But there have been a lot of spin-off projects, right, by different people. Your Solana, your Polygon, all these people are trying to reduce the gas fees used to power their transactions, right? Technology is evolving such that these gas fees are reduced. When we talk about Bitcoin, a lot of people talk about how a lot of energy is used. Energy is consumed in powering the Bitcoin transactions. But when we talk about how energy is consumed, I think one thing that a lot of people don't realize is how this energy is used, or where this energy comes from. A lot of times, the energy that's consumed by Bitcoin is from green energy, solar energy, energy that might possibly be lost via transportation. People are trying to harness that energy lost by transportation to power Bitcoin transactions, right? Coming back to gas fees itself, so depending again on which blockchain you use, you can reduce your gas fees significantly, depending also on the type of platform that you're building, depending on the type of transactions that's happening on your network, on your blockchain, right? Again, the technology at this stage is pretty early, so which is why your gas fees are high or transaction fees are high. But as we go, as we advance, as we build more, as we figure out how to reduce transaction fees, that's going to significantly decrease.
Fantastic. Any more questions from the audience? No, that's okay. Ethereum, the bane of the life of creators on gas fees.
It's the most popular. All the NFTs are on Ethereum right now. I mean, most of it at least.
It's crazy. Michelle, thank you so much. A very informative session and some amazing questions from our audience. Thank you so much.